Hello and welcome to another How to Research video. My name is Professor Lauren Ball and I make these videos to help early career researchers and those doing things for the first time to feel confident about the tasks that are at hand for them when it comes to research. Today I want to talk about academic promotions. This is a topic very close to my heart. It's probably one of the most common topics that people want to talk to me about from a mentoring perspective. The reason why I get asked about this is because I suppose I am somewhat of a success story of academic promotions. I started off as a level A, and in Australia that means associate lecturer without a PhD, and have made my way through the academic levels where I'm currently a level E professor, and did it in what, looking back, seems like a pretty short amount of time. So taking all of that into consideration, today I'm just going to share my tips and tricks, but I want to acknowledge that this is not the only way to think about academic promotion. So don't just watch this video and think it's gospel. Talk to other people as well. Firstly, let's talk about how academic promotions work. In many places, certainly here in Australia, there are considered 5 levels of academia: A, B, C, D, E. Within each of those levels, there are different bands that, on the most part, as long as researchers are progressing well with their work and succeeding in their annual performance review, they will go from one band to another. However, it will require an academic promotion in order to progress from level A to B, B to C, C to D, and D to E. So let's talk about that some more. When would you know that you're ready to have a go at an academic promotion? One school of thought is that the number of bands at a level might indicate the number of years you could expect to be at that level. So for example, at some institutions, there are 6 level A bands, I think 6 level B, I think 6 level C, and 4 level D, and then 1 or 2 level E bands. So this might give you an idea of how many years you might think about is the standard for being at the level that you're at. I guess fundamentally my top tip is to understand the task that is at hand. So understand the level that you are at. I hope you know that already. You might want to check which band that you are at, and you might want to get your hands on the academic promotions criteria to really identify the difference between the level that you're at and the level that you will be applying for a promotion. Sometimes the criteria can be fairly clear. For example, in many places, to go from a level A to a level B, the general standard is the completion of a PhD. Other places might have some criteria that isn't necessarily written down in stone. It could be that the award of a nationally competitive grant might be considered a really good reason to apply for promotion from a level B to a level C. It could be that a fellowship is won, or it could be that a certain number of PhD candidates have been seen through to completion. It could be that there's an award that you receive, and these might be signs that you're looking like you're nearing readiness for promotion. My next tip is to really understand the process of applying for promotion. I would consider a promotion just like applying for a large grant. It will take many weeks or several months of preparation, and the process is something that stretches over most of the academic year. And this is because there are many steps involved. There's often guidance at your home university or your research organisation that might even start with advice to speak with your supervisor or a line manager to see if they think that you're ready. You might need to put in an intention to apply, and then there's the actual paperwork that you will complete and submit. Sometimes for promotions, there's an interview involved, and the final step is waiting for a panel to make a decision, and then a phone call or a letter that you would receive advising you of the outcome. It's pretty long and drawn out, and so understanding exactly what's going to take place will give you the confidence and the comfort about where you're at in this process. So next, I would like to talk about a big picture approach to promotions. My advice is to always have a plan in place. Even if you have just received a new role or an academic promotion, You should already be thinking about what the next promotion will look like and roughly how far into the future that might be. It might be 2, 3, 4, or 5 years away, and that's okay. The way to assess yourself to know how far into the future the next promotion will be is to have a look at that criteria, whether that be what's written down in an organisational piece of guidance or advice, or a discussion with your line manager, or simply the observations that you make around your school or your institute or your organisation. Start to write some things down about what would take you from being at your current level to demonstrating that you are ready to be recognised at the next level. It could be the number of publications. It could be some external grant income. It could be an award. It could be some teaching evaluation. It could be a leadership role that might have state or national significance. It could be the impact that you bring about through your research. There are many different metrics and indicators, so have a think about which ones might apply to you. I'll give you an example that I used. When I applied from level A to level B, I felt like it was a fairly straightforward process because I finished my PhD and that was a pretty good justification. But when I applied for promotion from level B to C, I knew that there was a set number of publications that I felt like I needed to achieve in order to be confident in the outcome. I then used that target and worked backwards for 2, I think, or even 3 years to make sure that I was on track to apply for promotion when I wanted to. It helped me to organise my own work as well as the goals that I wanted to achieve each year. The whole time I'm thinking about how I am working towards being ready for the next promotion. A really important point to know for academic promotions or research promotions is that you need to demonstrate that you are currently working at a higher level in order to justify being recognised at that higher level. This is different to some other industries where a person might be awarded a promotion because of excellence at their current level, and only after that promotion do they start to step up in their roles and responsibilities. If you're thinking about applying for promotion in the next round or the year after, I would start to have a look at the paperwork that's involved. Regardless of your current position, you will probably find yourself needing to demonstrate your performance and effectiveness across teaching and research and either service or leadership or engagement. This does mean that if you are in a research-focused role, you may find yourself needing to demonstrate how you still contribute to learning and teaching within your centre or institution. Likewise, you might find yourself in a teaching intensive role, but will still need to demonstrate your performance in other aspects such as research or service and engagement. The breadth in which you need to demonstrate your performance can trip some people up because there can be a misnomer that if you're doing well in one aspect of your role, that's enough to promote you across the board. So in order to overcome this challenge, have a think about your plan for the year and the way that you're contributing to your centre or your school or your university across teaching, across research and across service or leadership. Think about whether the work that you're doing is at your current level or is on the way to the next level or is at the next level. You might have a different focus on this year in order to prepare yourself to be ready for the next round. So if you're prepared and you feel confident, don't hold back, give it a go. You can ask your line manager or supervisor for their support, for some private feedback, but there should already be open communication. You should already know where you are performing as an academic. You could approach your application in the same way that you would approach a piece of research writing. So to do a draft, to show a colleague or a friend, receive that feedback and you continue to work on your application. So when I think back to my past promotion applications, there can often be 5 or 6 or 7 iterations that I have before I show it to someone who is a part of the decision-making process. Something that I have learnt along the way is that at many places there aren't necessarily any caps put on promotions. As long as you are ready, you will be awarded the promotion. So I would encourage you to be bold, ask the question, am I ready? And then have a go. This will only benefit your research and the people that your research hopes to support.